Hello, and welcome to Sideways. This week, we're talking about an episode of The Simpsons that I've never seen. We're also talking about ladies' bikes, hiding drink, and alternative ways of getting to the pub in Frittenden. Duffless. So you're going to sit and read your notes, and I'm just going to sit here.
Oh yeah, I might have a little sip of my tea as well.
Mm-hmm. Then at some point, we'll get started.
It depends on whether I fancy it or not, really, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Let's crack on, shall we?
Right, if you've read through your notes.
I have read through my notes, yeah. I'm pretty settled,
great.
actually.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about my stubbed toe first?
Yeah, sure. What happened there?
Well, no, it's very painful, so I don't know why you're laughing. It's not funny.
What did you stub it on?
I stubbed it on the bathroom door. I stubbed the two on my right foot. You know, there's the little toe and the two next to them. I stubbed badly into there, so they're all bruised and battered today. So I've been hobbling about.
How did you do that?
I felt very sorry.
Know the door was there?
Obviously, I didn't do it on purpose, but I could hear my mum saying to me, "Martin, why aren't you wearing your slippers?" Right. Not literally, because she passed away many years ago, but it did come flooding back to me, and then I realised I don't own a pair of slippers.
Really?
I have some indoor shoes.
Indoor shoes?
I have some indoor shoes. They're sort of a soft slip-on trainer.
Why don't you have slippers?
Oh, I don't like them.
Why?
I don't know. They always get smelly, don't they? And these tend to
they would for your feet.
Anyway, we haven't got. We're a little bit off the topic.
Do you think they're broken?
Hey, what? The toes?
Yeah.
No, not broken, but they're just very sore.
For some reason, that would be even funnier.
I don't see how having to split them to.
I don't think they bother splinting toes.
No, they just sort of.
They just say go away and
they attach them to the other toes, don't they? I'll be webbed for a while. Anyway, what's that noise?
I don't know.
I haven't heard that before.
I don't know.
Anyway, where were we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I want to talk about, right, is but now I want to talk about a particular episode of Simpsons that I watched. I want to base what I want to talk to you about on a particular episode of Simpsons. Now, you're one of those unusual people, aren't you, that have never actually watched whole episode of Simpsons.
Correct. Too popular.
Well, I was going to say, I know we talked about it on another episode.
No, I don't think it is that, actually. Because there are other similar programmes that I have watched, like Family Guy. Family Guy.
Yeah. But American Dad, obviously.
No, never watched American Dad. King of the Hill, do you remember that one?
I remember King of the Hill.
That was brilliant.
That was good.
But I never watched The Simpsons. I don't really know why I didn't, although...
I do, because it was too popular. So
I don't think it was that. I did go and see the Simpsons movie, though.
Which is pretty crap, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know. I've got nothing to compare it with.
Yeah, no, compared with the rest of the actual episodes. Certainly the early episodes, the early series were very good. But the movie, it didn't go well on the big screen, I've got to say.
Right, not one for the purists.
Not really, no.
Okay, so we're going to talk about of The Simpsons that I definitely won't have seen.
You won't have seen.
Great.
And perhaps some of the other listeners have never watched Simpsons before. I wonder, I'd be interested to get some feedback on that if there are people out there.
So write in and tell us if you've never watched The Simpsons.
If you've never watched The Simpsons, I think I don't expect the mailbox to be full on that one, to be honest.
I wouldn't have thought so, no.
Anyway, it's the particular episode is called Duffless.
Right.
Duff being the beer that Homer
imbibes
in it, and he imbibes in it a lot. And he was he goes on a trip to the Duff Brewery to see where it's made and see what's going on.
But that was exciting for him.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's. I've been to breweries in the past, and it's not.
Have you?
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's certainly not one. Not a trip I'd undertake now.
No.
But anyway, he goes to the Duff Brewery, and it's quite strange because as he goes in there, there's adverts saying, advertising Duff, and it's saying, you can't get enough of the wonderful Duff.
Right.
And it reminds me of how much I struggled in my early stage of recovery, looking, adverts on the TV, and it was, it was on billboards and everything around me. All of a sudden, I had this heightened awareness towards.
Really?
Yeah, towards
so
alcohol.
You saw beer everywhere.
I did see beer everywhere, and that's kind of strange because Homer does exactly the same thing in the episode.
Yeah.
And there's another character in Simpsons called Barney. Now Barney, he hangs out in Moe's bar, and he's the stereotypical drunk.
Right.
He really is. If there was a cartoon of me, I reckon I'd have been a Barney.
You would have been Barney.
I'd have been Barney.
Yeah.
Yes. But he goes with.
So he's annoying as well.
Oh yeah, very annoying. Yeah. He goes to the Duff Brewery with Homer.
Right.
He drives along, but he gets too pissed to drive home. obviously, because he's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So what actually happens in the episode that Homer then he jumps behind the wheel instead. Now he's had too much to drink and he gets caught, and he goes to court and he loses his license.
Right.
But it's quite interesting because the judge he also gave him 2 months AA. Not membership, exactly. He said, you've got to go to AA for the next 2 months. Right. It's a bit like the DRRs we have now, which is like the drug rehabilitation requests, where we get people come into groups where the court have told them to start to get their problem under control, and they need to go and get themselves sorted out. So he has to go to 2 months worth of AA meetings, and he also has to watch an alcohol awareness video that shows crash victims.
Right.
What do you think of those? I mean, do you think they're I know if people get caught speeding, you can elect, can't you, to go on a speed awareness course.
Yeah.
And I know people that have been on these drink drive courses to reduce their sentence down, and a lot of people have come out saying that what they got out of it is it gave them the some of the tools to not get caught.
Really?
Yeah, rather than address their.
Wow.
Yeah, it talked to.
So they wouldn't report being unduly affected by the kind of personal testimonies in the film then?
No, they weren't.
But then I suppose, in a sense, that's not surprising, is it? Because we know that there's nothing that's going to stop you drinking other than you.
Oh, well, exactly. And it's with Homer. Obviously, he watches the video, and it does have a bit of an effect on him. But it's quite strange because he then has to go to work because he's lost his license. Obviously, on his daughter's bike.
Yeah.
Now, you've had a daughter. Oh, you've got a daughter. I've got 2 daughters, and they're going to work on their little bikes. Would be a bit tricky.
It would be tricky, yeah. Well, that reminds me that my first bike was a lady's bike.
Was it?
It didn't have a crossbar.
Did it not? It was a step through.
Yeah, it was a source of great shame for me.
Well,
I don't think I ever really recovered.
No, it's great if you want to wear a kilt, I suppose, or something like that, isn't it?
I didn't want to wear a kilt.
No, it didn't work, did it? But it was one of the ramifications of him losing his licence, and we see, obviously, people coming into groups. There's a lot of people have lost their licence, and it's the ramifications of that which start to bite.
How do people generally feel about that? I mean, obviously it's an inconvenience, isn't it, to lose your licence? But is there? We've spoken before about the levels of shame in addiction. It strikes me that would be it's kind of another layer of shame, isn't it?
There is a layer of shame attached to that, obviously.
Because it's pretty delinquent, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But we tend to find that it's for a lot of people, it can be a bit of a kick up the backside.
Well, a wake-up call.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
What, it might actually push them into recovery.
Yeah, we've had people come in and said, everything is they're struggling along and functioning as an alcoholic, and then all of a sudden they've lost the means to get to work, they've lost the means to visit friends and family, etc., and it sort of focuses their mind. And
almost like an early warning system.
Yeah, I've really got to get this under control.
And have you seen people? Have you seen people's recovery triggered by something like losing their driving licence, and then they manage to maintain their sobriety?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have, yeah. It's quite surprising that it happens quite a lot.
I mean, you must have driven drunk.
Oh, I did. That's I carry more shame that I did drink drive on a daily basis for 2 or 3 years.
Was there driving involved in that time? You told me a story of having to run across fields on the way to Frittenden.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I mean,
to get away from the police. You're paranoid as well, as I recall.
Absolutely right. Yeah, that was a bit of an incident in a car park where I did have to run away from the scene of the incident, because I knew if the police came along and the other people were threatening to call the police, that I would be banged to rights. Yeah. And so I slipped off and ran across some fields.
To the pub?
I went to the pub, obviously,
obviously. Where else would you go?
It was a long trek, but across fields where I was hiding behind bushes whenever I heard a car going along the road and that sort of thing. But which is awful, really, when you think back about it. But it was a sense of survival. Yeah. And having the idea of getting to the pub kept me going, really.
It's a bit like your own version of that SAS programme on Channel 4.
Probably, yes.
Trying to survival of the fittest across the muddy fields to whatever the name of the pub is in Frittenden. I'm sure you know what it is.
I can remember it. It's still there. It's called the Bell and Jorrocks. Yeah. So I spent the afternoon in there, and I thought, I want to get completely rat-ass now, because if they catch me, I can say I've been drinking. I've been in here. I've been drinking heavily. So anyway, that was. I don't know how we got onto that, but
Homer,
the ramifications.
Homer driving.
Homer going around on his daughter Lisa's bike.
Yeah.
And he got home, and Marge, his wife. Mm-hmm.
With the big hair,
the big blue hair. So you do know a bit about it.
Well,
I think it's
in popular culture.
It is, and she wants him to give up drinking for a month. Oh yes, crikey. Yeah. So this is. She had a list that she read out to him, and it's quite similar to the one that the AA issue actually, which has you go through it and it gives you an indication whether you've got a drink problem or not.
Like the guide that we made.
Very much like the guide we
downloadable
made.
From my website.
Yes,
I should point out.
We should, and very well. It's great to advertise it at this point, because the AA guide, virtually everything points you towards going to their meetings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you think about having a drink? 2 Thursdays ago. Tick yes. Get to one of our meetings. So it's a little bit heavy-handed. So I think our guide that we do is, or we did, is
we don't point anyone towards any meetings.
No, we don't. So one of the first things that Marge asked Homer off this list, there's 4 points. The first one was, do you drink alone?
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite relevant.
Yeah.
And Homer said, Homer asked if God counted at that point.
Yeah, he doesn't, does he?
He doesn't really count. And the second point was... Or she, yeah. The second point was, do you need drink to fall asleep?
Oh.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting one.
Did you? You must have.
Yes, I did, very much so. Well, it was just a case of there's no real sleep pattern when your addiction is at its highest. It's just a case of drink collapse.
Yeah.
So you don't really know whether it's day or night, and
you certainly drunk alone.
So I'd have ticked all these boxes.
Yeah.
The third point was, do you ever hide beer around the house or alcohol around the house?
Right.
Now, that is so relevant, because virtually everyone that comes into groups has said, especially if they've got a partner they're living with, they knew that their problem was starting to kick in when they were hiding stuff around the house. They're hiding spirits in the loft or out in the garden shed.
In the filing cabinet at work,
which is what I did.
Yeah. That's why I mentioned it.
And in the kitchenette at work as well, up high. Yes. So if I was there making a coffee, I could have a little crafty swig.
Yeah.
So I had it hidden around in various places. Strangely enough, even though I was living on my own at that point, I still hid it up at home. I know it's weird, but I did it.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I wasn't thinking straight, but it was a case of, I think, well, if someone comes around, I don't want to see my vodka on the side.
Right.
So I'd hide it away.
Did you ever misplace it and not remember where you put it?
Yeah.
And then sometimes come across it, perhaps?
Yeah, it's a little bonus, a little Brucey bonus at that point.
Yeah.
But yes, that does it. And we have people come into groups often say they've hidden stuff away, gone into recovery, then suddenly they'll come across it, or their partner will come across it, which either they come across it themselves and think, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
And hopefully they're going to pour it away.
Yeah.
If their partner comes across it, they think they're back
drinking.
on it. Yeah.
Oh,
so it's a tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the pouring down the sink, because Marge wants Homer to give up drink for a month, she actually pours all the drink down the sink for him.
All his stuff beer.
Yeah. Yes. And again, going back to that point, I've known people that have done that in front of their partners when their partners have found it and they've poured it down the sink, knowing they've got stash elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's a sort of a curtain drawn across it.
What's the view on? There will have been times in terms of a type of intervention where partners may pour the drink away themselves.
Yeah.
Now, to my mind, that's not really going to have any impact, is it?
No, not really. I mean, it's
if anything, it's going to drive it more underground.
Yeah, it does very much so. That's what I say. We've known people that do it in front of their partners purely to give the impression that they're making the right steps. But it's very easily replaceable, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not as if it's the last bit of alcohol available on the earth.
No. You can understand the desperation in a partner, though, doing that kind of thing.
Can. You can.
They get to the end of their tether and think, right, I'll pour it all away in a sort of desperate attempt to stem the tide. But of course, it's futile.
It is futile, and I think we talked about it before. That having an alcoholic in the family, it destroys the whole family unit. So the emotions that the partners are going through when they're desperately trying to find the right thing to do, and trying to find the right path. And pouring the drink away is something which is very easy for them to do.
Yeah.
And I suppose it gives them a bit of an upper hand in it as well. And it's, I know certainly if that had happened to me, I'd have found that very difficult to deal with.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
What would you have done, do you think?
Replaced it quickly. Yeah, very much so.
You'd have had sweaty palms as it was happening.
You would. I mean, going back to the episode of The Simpsons, at that point. When Homer decides he's given up, the beer's gone down the sink, he starts to get the cravings.
Yeah, because he hasn't got any.
Because he hasn't got any there, and everything reminds him of beer. We talked about it earlier on, and he'd even taken his car out to the petrol station, and he was filling up, thinking about alcohol-fueled cars. Right. so everything was, he could relate back to alcohol. It's I remember exactly that when I first went into recovery. That even the minor sort of details would remind you that you're not drinking anymore.
How did you deal with that then?
Some of it you got to white knuckle it, really.
Because when you were first in recovery, you used to drink non-alcoholic beer.
I did.
So I'm wondering now that we're talking about it, whether that was a way of in almost easing yourself into sobriety.
It was. I mean, it's a dangerous thing to do. It is, and there's alcohol-free wine available now, and alcohol-free cider, and it's never recommended.
Yeah.
It really isn't, because you're still clinging on to your old habits.
Yeah.
And I did it. I suppose it was. I don't know if it was still part of the denial stage or not. I don't know. It was something that I did. I only did it for a short period, and then realised that there's absolutely no reason to do that. And other drinks were perfectly acceptable. I think I found it happened more often when I would perhaps be invited to a barbecue or to a friend's house, and they would be drinking and they'd supply that alcohol-free stuff for me.
So you didn't stick out?
Yeah, there was a bit of that. And it meant they could carry on their own drinking as well, and everyone was sort of happy.
Help people feel a bit more comfortable.
Yes.
We've got a beer for Martin, that's all right.
Exactly. Catered for the invalid.
Yeah. Barbican.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's
a great one.
Yeah.
He's dead, isn't he?
I think it's Beck's do one now, don't they? Beck's Blue.
I don't know. Well, the only time I can ever remember drinking alcohol-free beer was when Barbican first came out, and we bought some cans and drank out the back field when we were playing football.
Was I there?
No,
I wasn't there.
No, you wouldn't have been drinking alcohol-free beer in those days, would you?
I wouldn't. I would have ridiculous.
You'd have been about 14. You'd have been bang on it, wouldn't you? At that stage.
Of course I was. Yes. I'd have had a couple of sneaky snowballs in my back pocket.
You were probably jacking up in the garages.
Anyway, we're going slightly off topic again here, but going back to so Homer has his calendar. He crosses off day one, and it sort of reminded me that I suppose the confusion that day one brings. I was up in a detox unit up in Essex in a place called Passmore House, and I remember that day when I still remember it quite vividly now, of thinking I'm never going to be able to do this. This is starting to hurt, and I'm really not enjoying this. I want to go back to my old ways. And
when you say it's starting to hurt, can you explain that a little bit? Because for people who haven't experienced addiction, what is that? What's that pain like?
It's on two different levels, really, or two different areas. The emotional level, you're starting to grieve for it. Yeah. You're starting to grieve for an old friend that you've lost that's been such a massive part of your life.
So it feels like your life's incomplete without it.
Yeah, very much so. It's like splitting up with a girlfriend you really don't want to split up with. She's sort of dumped you and left you blubbering. But on a physical level, I'd started to, when you go into the detox units, obviously they give you Librium and they give you different drugs to help with the cravings. But I'd started to get the sweats and the shakes and cramps.
Yeah.
And so I was starting to feel at that point, I definitely can't do this. I know the only way that that's going to get rid of, the only thing that's going to get rid of these symptoms right now quickly is to have a drink.
Yeah.
The good thing about being away in a residential detox is that there's plenty of people around you. There's other people that are going through exactly the same thing, so you can support each other. But there's professionals on hand. There's doctors there. There's addiction specialists, and they talk you through it, and they normalise that for you to say this is quite normal. This is how you will feel tomorrow or the next day, and so they talk you through it. So it was a comfort to me that I knew what I was starting to feel. I remember the first night hallucinating very badly. And again, they explained to me that that's part of the course. It wasn't particularly the drugs that I was taking, but the chemical imbalance that I was experiencing, where I'd suddenly, the previous day I'd drunk my normal litre and a half of vodka, and this, the next day, nothing. Yeah. So I'd done the worst thing possible by not cutting down.
Yeah, so you made it as hard for yourself as you possibly could.
I did, not intentionally, but I did try and cut down, but found it completely impossible.
Yeah.
So I have to take my hat off to people that are in recovery that do so, that are able to cut down before they go into detox, because I just couldn't. As soon as I had one drink, that was it. It was flat out.
All or nothing. Flat out flip.
Flat out flip. I was. I was in a terrible position where I knew one drink was going to be harmful, but I couldn't stop myself from having that first drink because I was starting to shake and starting to feel ill. And it's quite funny because Homer on his first or second or third day of sobriety, he went to baseball and realised that all of a sudden what a boring sport it was. he'd never noticed before how boring it was. He'd just got there and got completely pissed.
And that was the experience.
And that was the experience as far as he was concerned. And again, his heightened awareness, suddenly a train goes by that's carrying a whole cargo of Duff beer and that sort of thing. And so everything is still very heightened off him. And it skips on then in the episode up to about day 15, when he crosses off day 15. And it's at this point that Marge starts to compliment him, saying that you're starting to look better, you're starting to lose weight. And it was similar to me. I remember exactly the same thing happened where I'd come home from detox. So I was away for a couple of weeks, come home, and walking into Headcorn, walking into Sainsbury's, fun enough, where I previously used to go and get all my drink from. I remember two people come up to me and said, "My God, you look really well. Have you been away on holiday?" And a lot of people knew what I was going through, and I explained to these people that didn't know that I'd gone off to detox.
So you told them that you'd been to detox?
I did. I told them at that time. I said, "Well, I stopped drinking. I've gone to see." I said, like that, and they were amazed at the difference in such a short period of time. And I see that all the time now. I see people come into groups in a real terrible state. They're waiting to go into detox. They go off to detox. They come back, and their skin starts to look clearer. Their eyes are clearer. They're starting to look fitter. But it's the which is from the outside, that's quite easy to see. But when you talk to these people, and the same when people talk to me in the detox unit, I'd started to sort of reintegrate into society and start to talk a little bit more sense, which I think you probably find that hard to imagine.
I must admit, I didn't notice that change in you, certainly.
But the strange thing is this, now when people come into groups and they've been detoxed and they start to look better, if you say to them, and I remember this happening to me, if you say to them, "God, you look better, you look so much better than the last time I saw you," instantly these people say, "Well, did I look terrible before?"
Right.
And I remember thinking, perhaps I looked really shit beforehand then, because I thought I looked all right. So it's a sort of a compliment that gets paid to you, which you find really difficult to accept.
Did you ever ask people that? If someone said, "Oh, you look really well," did you ever say, "Why did I look terrible before?"
I did, yeah.
Did you? And what did people say?
No, of course you didn't. But they backtrack a little bit at that point, and it puts them on the back foot.
Well, I can tell you did.
I did look terrible.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah.
I remember when I met you. I hadn't seen you for ages, and I met you in the whatever the pub is in Headcorn, King and Queen, or something. Which one is it? One opposite where you lived.
Yeah, that was the George and Dragon.
Yeah, that's where we met.
I don't remember that.
No, I know you don't remember it. You were drinking.
Was that? Yeah, quite.
But I was shocked. Yeah, I mean, you really looked close to death.
Yeah. Well, I was at that point, and there's no doubt about it. But you look in the mirror and you don't really see that.
No,
it's a gradual process of getting to look that terrible. But it's surprising how
to work hard to look that terrible.
You do, and I put back into it.
You really did, yeah. You gave everything, didn't you?
I did. So it reminded me of that because that comes up quite a lot. And so when people do come into groups now, you have to be very careful. I'm very careful and try and be quite subtle about, the changes that I can obviously see in them. Yeah. But some people take the compliment better than others. But normally, as an addict, we've been feeling shit about ourselves for so long. Anything positive being said to us is a real change.
It's nice, though, isn't it?
It is, but you're looking for the reasons.
Yeah, you discount it.
Yeah, you do. You think
you're just being nice.
There's some hidden agenda behind it. It's really strange. It takes a long while into recovery before I started to be able to accept any sort of compliments. I batted them off because I've been used to. My self-esteem had been shattered for so long. And it's Homer then goes on to, he reaches day 30, which he crosses off, so his month is up.
Yeah. And has he abstained all through the month?
He's done well. He's abstained throughout that month. Yeah. And it reminds me, we'd always know that the month is quite a tricky one. It's quite a tricky time.
Like a year.
It's like, there's certain trip-up points where we see lapses happen more often. Mm-hmm. The year one is quite a tricky one, but the earlier ones, certainly the month and the 3 months and 6 month periods, they can be quite tricky. You get to them. Certainly when I come out, I've done a month. In my head, I'm probably okay now. Right. If I've given up for a month, then I haven't got a problem.
Yeah. I can probably go
back. And the same thing happens after about 3 and 6 months. And I see this happen so regularly. And we always warn people when they're coming up to those periods that, you're going to feel this at this point. You've got to be extra vigilant. Because, complacency is a major, major cause of relapse. So we try and keep people close in the groups at those stages.
I suppose people, when they get to those landmarks, they feel like they want to test it. They think, well, I know you say that I can't go back to drinking, but I reckon I might be able to. Yeah. And, of course, they test it and then it's too late. Right?
It is too late, yeah. We always use the phrase of, touching the flame again, see if it burns. And it always does, doesn't it? You put your finger in a candle, it's going to burn every time. But as an addict, you think, perhaps I've cracked this now. Yeah. I'm okay. I can dip my toe back in the water, but it doesn't happen. There's one funny bit actually where Marge says, it's great, 30 days down the line, you don't sweat when you eat anymore, which was a bit weird. And it reminded me, we talked about it before, when I used to steam up the inside of cars just by sitting in them when I was drinking heavily.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
I just used to be sweating, and I remember doing it also on the train.
You'd steam up the windows of the train?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was sitting on the train going up. Well, I was still working, going up into the city. I remember sitting on the train there and sort of leaning against it, and there was this big patch next to me where I steamed it up. The rest of the train was fine, but it's just this patch next to me.
That is peculiar.
It is peculiar. I remember my shirt had started. I was wearing a light blue shirt, and I tried to push my tie over the sweat patches that had started to appear, and it was dreadful. No, it's
because you must have been. I mean, that must have been noticeable to other people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was horrible. I remember trying to desperately running into the toilets before I went into the offices where I was going to see the people, and using the hand dryer to try and dry my shirt out and stuff. And I don't miss those days.
No, God, what a state to get into.
It was a terrible state, but another thing that Marge said, they'd saved over $100 during that month that they hadn't spent on beer, and I totted it up, and I think I was spending about £400 to £500 a month on booze.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, which was so it didn't take long, even though I had savings at that point. It took. I'd exhausted them within a couple of years. It all gone.
£6,000 a year.
Yeah. Just I was trying
to kill yourself.
To kill yourself.
Not bad.
And that was just the sort of the figure that I come up with, working about what the cost of the vodka was at the time and how much I bought every day. So it worked out around about that.
Yeah, not to mention the kind of cost to there's always a cost, isn't there, to things that you let slide.
Yeah.
When you're in that sort of state.
Yeah, I didn't realise at the time how much it was all dwindling away, and didn't really care.
No, as long as you had some vodka.
It just that you have another drink and forget about it, and let your worries take another course. Put all your worries on hold. But then it's quite a nice point at that stage where Homer then goes back to Moe's pub at the end of the 30 days. He thought he'd go and have a drink, and he goes in there and he looks around and through sober eyes he sees all the drunk people in there and really doesn't like it. And then so instead of staying in the pub, he goes back home and he goes on a bike ride with his wife, with Marge, and they rode off into the sunset, and it was a real happy ending to that. Yeah, it was. It was quite a poignant episode, I thought. And it ended at that point. Obviously, by the next episode, he's back drinking again. But it was quite a nice interlude, and I thought it was a very worthwhile episode to watch. And we recommend that other people watch it. And when they come into groups, say, "Oh, have you watched this? Have a look at that," because it's a nice happy ending. And
metaphorically powerful.
It is metaphorically powerful, but it's a very gentle way of dealing with quite a serious problem.
Do you tell people to watch that episode but don't watch the one after when he's back on it?
Yeah, well, I think most people, same as I do, identify with Barney the drunk, really. It's But yeah, it's a great episode.
So you want to be less like Barney and more like Homer on his bike?
More like sober Homer.
Sober Homer?
Sober Homer. Riding off with, it was indicative of his family life getting back together again.
Lovely.
Which I thought was nice.
How lovely.
Do you like that?
Very nice indeed. I might go and watch it myself, and you never know, I might even get into The Simpsons.
You never know. It's a long shot, but try it.
Great. All right.
Hey?
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah, I'm done. My notes are finished, mate.
Are you sure? There's nothing on the back?
There's nothing on the back. I'm done. Good. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
See you next week.
Yeah, we'll do.
Cheers.
Cheers then.
Bye.
Bye.
Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work, visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/Sideways podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, and you can email us with any questions or to let us know what you think of the show. Finally, we want to thank you for listening and ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.